MaDVaX Gaming.
MaDVaX Gaming here, and today we're going to be working on a new project to count down for Thanksgiving. You guys seem to really like when I did a little bit of a Halloween series, so I thought I would start something for Thanksgiving, and then eventually have some stuff come out for Christmas. And what we are going to be making today is the Macy's Day Parade. So, every day I'm going to work on a new float, and I will post it on the weekends for you guys to check out, and we can count down all of November. And today we're going to be making a giant creeper float, so that way it's themed to Minecraft. And that's what I'm going to be working on today. So I grabbed every green block I could find, the green terracotta, the green concrete, the lime green concrete, and the lime green terracotta, and I grabbed black, and eventually I am going to grab gray as well, because I realized the creeper has some gray in it. And I googled a picture online so that way I could just kind of look at it. And we're going to be building it face down, just like how a Macy's Day Parade float would be. He'd be face down and he'd be gigantic, floating in the sky. I added some new roads so that way we could attach it. And right now I'm working on his feet. And his feet are the pattern of black and white check. I was trying to copy exactly how his green patterns go, but it's honestly super random that if you just want to kind of do your own pattern, it works just fine. But his toes are black and a dark green checker, so I did copy that to make sure that looks right. And we are going to make this 3D, and when you look at him, he is about 4 blocks high when it comes to his feet. It's pretty easy to count how thick he should be, so I tried to keep that as accurate to scale as I possibly could, and I am making it as thick as I need to right now. I ended up changing the pattern a bit because I realized it looked funny on the outside, so I fixed that up. And I am just making layer after layer, and there's no need to fill in the inside because you can't see it, and leaving it hollow inside is actually going to have an advantage for a little surprise that I'm going to show you we're going to do later. So leaving it hollow is nice, and it also makes it easier, and if you are brave and you want to make it on survival, cutting corners is always nice too, but I'm playing creative because building stuff like this in survival is not as much my strong suit. I need to be able to fly. So here I am just filling out his body now. So we just come out right from his feet like that. Like I said, we're building face down, which is a bit of a challenge, but it's going to look more realistic and look more like a float doing it like this. So I have to very often go down and look at it at the proper angle to make sure it looks correct. And I'm building him high. This is how thick he is. Once again, he's about 4 blocks thick, and I am working on that. And I decided that I should definitely add some gray. So that is what I'm doing. I am adding some light gray because I realize he has some light gray in him, and he also has white. I don't know if I mentioned that he has white concrete as well, so I added white concrete and some gray concrete, and then we are good to go there, along with all the green again, and just filling everything out, and once again leaving him hollow on the inside because it's just easier and you can't see it anyway, so it really doesn't matter. I have it built around where my little ski resort is because I'm going to eventually turn this into a Christmas town, just like the woods is kind of my Halloween town. So now we're working on the head, which is where I had a bit of some trouble because I needed to figure out how to build it face down. That was a struggle because, like I said, I'm building it in a weird direction. So this was me trying to figure out how to do it, and I just started working on the neck. His neck comes out about 2 out from his body, so I do it just like that. So now that I have the neck in, I'm going to start working on his head and go from there. So this was me trying to figure out because I had to completely reset my brain building in the wrong direction. And I finally figured it out then and realized I had to come out like that. And now I'm starting to place his mouth. I was trying to match it exactly to scale as to how I made his head, but I'm going to end up changing it because I realize he looks more like a cat or a llama. His mouth is not shaped correctly. And they say to use dark green as like the curves down his mouth and around his mouth. But my green isn't dark enough that I felt like it blended. So I am eventually going to change it. This was me trying to make it match. But I eventually kind of do my own thing to make it stand out more because I feel like it's not standing out the way it's supposed to because I just don't have a dark enough green that blends into the black more. So this is me trying to find other blocks to see what I can do because I know that I'm still not happy with it, and eventually I just end up settling and I'm going to switch it out with black because it just looks better than trying to use the dark green, and it gives it that curve to make him look more realistic. But then I didn't like his eyes being solid black, so I then used dark gray, and I feel like that looks a lot better. That his mouth looks more accurate and his eyes look more accurate to what he actually looks like. And unfortunately, he is a little darker in color because I don't have that like very, very bright sea foamy green type of block. They don't have that, so he doesn't match perfectly, but you still get an idea of what he's supposed to be. It's pretty obvious he's a creeper. And I'm just filling in his head now, and that's how thick his head is and how round it is. It's thicker than his body. So I'm just filling this out and adding all kinds of color accents and things like that, and just doing basically a random pattern where I don't put too much of one color in one spot, and just filling that all out just like that. And I just had to build his second set of legs, and I'm just making sure that I have it matched perfectly, so I'm counting out what I need to do, and I am filling it in once again with that same little spacing for his toes, and then I'm filling in the rest of it so that way his feet match perfectly. And of course he has no arms, so this is the last part we need to put together for his body, and then we're going to work on a little surprise that I decided to add as well, so that'll be a lot of fun. But after you fill in this part, then you have everything filled in for the actual creeper itself, and then we can add some more details to make it obvious that it is a Macy's Day Parade. And don't forget to fill out the bottom as well, so that way everything is covered. And yeah, I think he turned out pretty great, and he's floating like he should. I was going to try to use rope and tie it to fence, but I realized you can't tie fence to fence. So then I went with the iron bars, and when you build straight down, it does look just like rope, so it worked perfectly. So I put about 4 there, because there's usually several to try to hold it down. And now I'm going to make little people that walk around and hold the float. So when you put a armor stand on redstone, he does the perfect reach out like he's holding the string. So I was trying to figure out the best way to put redstone underneath but also hide it so it's not super obvious he's standing on redstone, but it has to be touching it perfectly. So I ended up doing, and you'll see in a little bit as I'm doing trial and error, is I ended up putting block redstone and then putting a little slab on top, and I think that ended up perfect. I was trying to see if I could shove things inside, but instead it went too low and it popped the redstone. With bedrock, I think things are a little bit different in Java, that this is what I had to do. So he's just standing up a little higher, which honestly blends in fine. I put a creeper head on him so it looks like they're wearing costumes to match the float, and he's wearing a solid green suit. And I'm going to mimic this everywhere else on the map. So the white I just used then, and it then just looks like it's more of his feet, and it stands out. And I ended up putting in a fireworks machine. I did not record myself building it because I never made one before and I wanted to make sure I was doing it right. But here's the footage of what it looks like. You can see it's a super easy build. You just have a conductor and a bunch of the switches and the redstone, and you put as many fireworks as you can in the chest, and the chest drops it down and it comes out of the conductor just like that. So just keep an eye out and you can see exactly, all you got to do is build it exactly like I did and it'll work just fine. And it shoots them out constantly until the chest is empty, and then you just refill it again. But I did the fireworks so that way it seems like he's exploding like an actual creeper. And then I block it off so he just blows up inside, and then it sparks all over and he shoots off all kinds of different colors. It goes in a pattern. And yeah, I just think it looks really great. And then he's making the sizzle sound, so it's super realistic. It's optional, of course. You don't have to do it like that if you decide to make one. But here is the final results of the creeper float. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, and I'm going to make a whole bunch of other floats, and this is going to be a whole series for a bit, and we're going to fill up this road, and I'm really happy with it, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for all the likes, comments, subscription support. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time it is. I hope it's freaking fantastic, and I will talk to you all later.
Thanks for for watching.